Hi there, this is Judy Marie from the DG Marie Trust in South Africa. In this video presentation, we explain exactly how you develop a theory of change for your social program or intervention. The presentation is part of a collection of resources provided on our Growing Confidence website, which aims to assist non-profit organizations to monitor and evaluate their programs. If you are not sure what the theory of change is, have a look at the website before you watch further. The first step in developing a theory of change is to find or select someone to lead the development process, as well as the people who will participate. There are various stakeholders that could participate, for example, the members of management, the implementation staff, external stakeholders like government officials, and implementation partners like community members. When doing a theory of change for evaluation purposes, it is however important to include the managers of the program in the development process. When selecting who to participate, you should keep in mind that the development of a theory of change is a powerful process that clarifies objectives and illuminates paths towards outcomes. It is therefore beneficial to all who participate because it allows an opportunity for input and for the development of a shared understanding. Thus, the best theories of change are developed with a group input, which is why it is important that there is someone to lead this process. Many people participating does, however, lead to cumbersome processes. And to address this, one person or a smaller group can create a draft theory of change, which is then interrogated by a larger group. The next step is to do a situational analysis, which basically means you need to study and describe the problem that you hope to address through your program. If you are already implementing your program, you have probably already done a situational analysis, which informed your program strategy and activities. You will thus know that when you are newly developing a program, such a situational analysis might entail a detailed process of reviewing research and interviewing community members and stakeholders, etc. Even if you have already done this, it is worthwhile to provide a brief descriptive summary of the problem to provide context to your theory of change. Answering certain questions can guide you in doing the situational analysis. For example, you can do a why chain, where you think of the problem and ask, why does this happen? Once you have generated the reason for the problem, you ask of the reason. And why does that happen? And so forth, until you have explored all the roots of the problem. Alternatively, you could try to answer the following specific questions. What is the problem? Why is it a problem? For whom is it a problem? And why does it occur in the first place? As you can imagine, a situation analysis can become a comprehensive thesis comprising complicated theories and evidence. What is very important, though, is that you understand the problem and its root causes correctly before you develop a program strategy. Looking at the appropriateness of your intervention to address the problem or to reach certain outcomes is one of the aspects that need to be investigated through a program evaluation. Next, you need to focus the project. Simply put, you need to decide on and state your program strategy and in the process define the boundaries of your program. In other words, in terms of the situational analysis, which part of the problem or opportunity will you address and which parts will be out of bound for your program? Can those aspects that fall outside the boundaries of your program impact the outcomes that you would like to achieve through your program? For example, an organization providing skills training for unemployed people might make them more employable, but the lack of job opportunities in the market might affect their ultimate goal, which is to reduce unemployment. Such aspects or variables should definitely be taken into account when you evaluate programs. The most important aspect of developing a theory of change is the development of an outcomes chain. An outcomes chain shows the assumed cause and effect relationships between immediate, intermediate, and ultimate outcomes or impact. For example, in order to achieve an improvement in literacy levels, families need to have access to books, and parents need to introduce children to the love of reading, which should lead to children enjoying stories and reading, which in turn should lead to children reading more on their own when they are older, and which should ultimately lead to improved literacy. An outcomes chain is thus the main device for thinking about how the program functions. When a program is newly designed, it is the primary rationale for the choice of program activities, for resource allocation, and for selecting performance indicators, etc. Assessing whether a program is achieving its outcomes is a key aspect of program evaluation. There are different ways in which you can develop an outcomes chain, and you can try the different methods and see different combinations to see what is easiest for you. You could start by briefly stating your program strategy. Next, identify the immediate outcomes to be achieved through the strategy by saying "so that." Continue to identify subsequent outcomes working from immediate outcomes to ultimate outcomes. For example, a program could provide tutoring to grade 9 to 12 learners so that there is improved grade 12 results, so that there is increased access to tertiary education, so that there are more high-earning graduates in communities, so that there is a reduction in poverty. Or you could identify a clear long-term outcome or impact to be achieved, start to identify the preconditions required to bring about the long-term outcome. You're asking, for this to happen, what needs to happen first or what needs to be in place? Continue until you arrive at your program strategy. For example, we hope that organizations will monitor and evaluate their work. For this to happen, they need to be motivated to monitor and evaluate their work and know how to monitor and evaluate their work. For this to happen, they need to understand the concepts underlying monitoring and evaluation, have monitoring and evaluation skills, and understand the value of monitoring and evaluation. For this to happen, they need to be trained on monitoring and evaluation and have access to monitoring and evaluation information and resources. Lastly, you could prepare a list of all the desired outcomes that you can think of, cluster them and give a working label to each cluster of outcomes, arrange the working labels into one or more chains of if-then statements. If this happens, then this will happen. For example, here are some outcomes that the HIV prevention program for youth would like to achieve. They would like to see that young people are not having sex with more than one committed partner, young people are self-assertive, young people have goals for the future, young people know their values, young people are not having transsexual sex, young people feel loved and valued, HIV prevalence among youth declines, young people are not having unprotected sex, young people are excited about the future, young people feel safe and nurtured, and young people have positive self-esteem. These outcomes can be grouped as follows. Those that relate to having a sense of belonging, those that relate to having an imminent sense of opportunity, those that relate to having a positive sense of identity. These groups of working outcomes could lead to a group of outcomes related to youth not engaging in risky sexual behavior, which would finally lead to a reduction in HIV prevalence among youth. Note that these examples are not perfect in themselves, but they are only used in this video to illustrate certain concepts. You are almost done now. Only 2 final steps before you've developed a theory of change. Lastly, you will connect your outcomes with arrows and identify feedback loops. And finally, you will share your theory of change with different stakeholders and role players, get their input, and continue crafting until you have a theory of change that you are satisfied with as a group. We hope that this video has assisted you and that you feel able to develop a theory of change for your program or organization. Also take a look at the example illustrated in the case study section on our website. And you should also note that we provide the guidelines to develop an outcomes chain and to do a situational analysis, as well as a text for this video on the website. If you are watching from YouTube, we provide a link for the website in the video description. Thank you for watching.